We all have that favourite Disney movie that we remember from childhood. That one special movie that brings back those nostalgic memories every time we rewatch it. But what if we told you that the stories you used to love so much are actually full of plot holes that greatly affect some of the storylines, causing them to actually make no sense whatsoever? So if you don't want us to spoil the way you watch these movies, look away. Because here are 10 animated Disney movie plot holes you totally missed as a kid. Number 1. Pocahontas. Firstly, why does John Smith have an American accent? All the other crew members on the ship have British accents, and the American accent we know today didn't even exist back then. So why didn't they just have Mel Gibson do an English accent? It would have made it far more believable. And speaking of languages, another odd thing is that Pocahontas seems to pick up the English language pretty quickly. Aside from the fact that she comes from a tribe that's had no interaction with English foreigners whatsoever, all it seems to take is for John Smith to teach her the word helmet, and boom, she can now speak fully fluent English, as they seem to be able to talk to each other without any trouble whatsoever. 2. Cinderella. We all know the story of Cinderella with her evil sisters and stepmother who lock her away so she can't attend the prince's ball. Along comes the fairy godmother, bibbidi-babbidi-boo, and boom, she arrives at the prince's ball in glass shoes. Which actually turns out to be quite handy, because when she has to go at midnight, she accidentally leaves one of these very distinct shoes behind. Now, brushing aside the fact that this slipper doesn't disappear after midnight like the rest of her outfit, for the prince to find her again, the story relies on nobody having the same shoe size as Cinderella, something that's highly unlikely. Also, why doesn't the prince remember her face? He spent most of the evening dancing with her, but instead chooses to identify her by shoe size, because that's how to ID someone. Number 3. Aladdin. Do you remember Jafar's snake staff? You know, the one that can hypnotise anyone, which means it makes quite a big hole in the plot. Why, you may ask? Well, he seems to be able to effortlessly hypnotise the Sultan. And if he can do that, then why didn't he just hypnotise Jasmine and get her to kick Aladdin out and then marry him, in order to become the new future Sultan and have all the power he desires? Number 4. Beauty and the Beast. So the story goes that this young prince was cursed by a witch and turned into a beast, and can only break the curse when he truly learns to love and can earn the love of another. Fine. Then there's the bit about the rose where he has to achieve all of this before the last rose petal falls on his 21st birthday. But hang on a minute. At the end of the movie, we see the last rose petal fall, suggesting that he's 21. But earlier on in the movie, Lumiere states that they've been transformed for 10 years. Now, putting aside the fact that the beast had to have only been 11 when he was cursed by the witch, we're going to focus on Chip, as he seems to be quite young. Now, seeing as the beast actually looks 21 when the curse is broken, let's assume that they all aged while the curse was active. This would mean that not only the witch cursed a petulant 11-year-old that didn't really know what he was doing, but she also cursed a baby. And it was all on Christmas Day! What a witch! Number 5. Toy Story. To infinity and beyond, says Buzz Lightyear, thinking that he's actually an intergalactic space ranger. And despite the countless times that Woody tells him that he's a toy, he chooses not to believe so. Fair enough. However, if he believed he truly wasn't a toy, then why does he freeze whenever humans walk into the room? Surely he'd try and interact with them rather than fall limp on the floor like a toy. And it can't just be a reflex that happens that he's unaware of, because as we see near the end of the movie, they seem to be in control of it and can move in front of humans if they choose to. So he must have known all along that he was a toy. Number 6. Toy Story 2. This time let's focus on Woody, who we find actually turns out to be a very old collectible toy character from a TV show called Woody's Roundup. A TV show that's way older than Andy, and even Andy's mum mentions at the yard sale that he's an old family toy. Fine. However, Woody only seems to remember having a history with Andy, but Jessie seems to remember her old life with the young girl. So Woody must have had a previous owner and somehow completely forgot about them. 7. Monsters Inc. The relationship between Boo and Sully is adorable, and all starts when little Boo manages to sneak her way into Monstropolis, and she even spends a few days there, which makes us wonder what's going on in her real home. Her parents must be worried sick, but when she finally returns to her room, there's no one there, not even police or anything. Didn't her parents notice she wasn't there? Number 8. The Little Mermaid. Ah, Ariel. The mermaid who wanted to become human to be able to run off with a man she's only just met. And the sacrifice that she makes in order to do this is giving up her own voice. But when she finally does meet the complete stranger who could have turned out to be a murderer, she's held back by her lack of being able to speak. But hang on, doesn't she know how to write, as we see her clearly sign her name with perfect handwriting suggesting that she does know how to write? So why didn't she just write down what she wanted to say to him? It would have made things a lot easier. 9. 101 Dalmatians. After Cruella de Vil's puppy napping didn't go as planned, London became full of missing puppies. And instead of putting up posters and returning the puppies to their original owners, Roger and Anita decided to simply adopt them. All of them. The problem is, when you think of the logistics of this decision, it doesn't really sound like a happy ending for anyone, as there are only 2 of them to look after all of these dogs, meaning that they won't be able to give many of the dogs the attention that they need. And how would they afford food and vet bills? And the amount of dog poop they'd have to clean every day would be astronomical. So yeah, not a happy ending at all. Number 10. Frozen. Elsa's powers are one of the mysteries of Frozen, as so many questions evolve around them. But all we're told is that she was just born with these powers. So, okay, let's just forget about their origin for a second. The reason for her storming off in the first place is because she can't control her powers. Well, why can she not control them, but yet manages to build intricately complex ice structures and fully automated moving snowmen? Yet she can't just hold them in. Also, how did she get so good if she spent ages not using her powers? It just makes no sense. Well, those were the Disney animated movie plot holes that we found. Please let us know in the comments if you can explain any of these.
For your daily celeb fix, subscribe.